welcome back. We have a fun project today, and as you can see, we are going to make what I'm calling some nesting bags. Look at this. This is a small, okay? And this is a medium size. And y'all, look, when you open it up, look how big the mouth is. Y'all, this medium mouth is so big, I can literally put a 3/4 thing of milk in it and still have all of this room. Let's see if our other bag, look, our other bag will even fit in there. Look at that. So this bag is really, really roomy. It's great for travel, for toys. This is great for little kids to put their toys in and kind of tote around, you know, with them. So you can find a lot of uses for this project. So it sews together really well. It has pockets on the front. Look at that. 2 big, deep pockets on the front of both of them. It is just so, so cute. I want you to get a good look. That's the front. And look at that little contrast in the back. It's so cute. It's got some drawstring ties. And I just think we'll have fun creating this project. So we are gonna create this small size together. They both construct the same. They're just different sizes. All right, let me tell you what you're gonna need for this project. First of all, you are gonna need the sewing pattern. And our sewing pattern will be on our website at sewphoriastudio.com. You can grab that. And the sewing pattern does come with both sizes in it. So bonus, you can have both of them inside of that package. You're gonna want some cotton quilting fabric. For this project, you can have, you know, one print that is the main body. You can have another print, you know, that is the contrast. And then you're also going to want, let's see, some batting. I'm using warm and natural batting, okay? That's really good. Gives it kind of a, because we're gonna quilt it, it gives it a little bit of that quilting look without so much of the bubble or the bulk, okay? You're gonna want a 1/4 inch width of rope. And this is like a trim that you can find at your local craft store, okay? You're gonna need 30 inches, 2 30-inch cuts for that. And you'll also want some bias tape. This is piping, okay? And so that's what our little trim is that's going across the top, okay? So you'll need some of that, but all of these specifics will be in our pattern that you'll purchase, okay? Now, you'll also need a ruler, and you'll want some scissors, and you'll also want a rotary cutter. You can use pins or binding clips if you'd like. You'll also want like a little poking tool. That'll be great for when we go to finish out our corners. And then here are a few extra things that will be great to have, or even to just add to your sewing. And it's a walking foot. This is a walking foot because we're going to be doing some quilting in the beginning of this project. So this is great to make sure that your top and your bottom material move together. And then I'm also going to be using a piping foot. This is a 1/2 inch piping foot. And if you look here, let me see if I can show you here. There's like, oh, there you go. You can see. There's a little groove where it can sit over the piping and you just stitch right on down. It's really, really great to have as a presser foot for your machine. And of course, you'd have to find whichever size works for the machine that you have, okay? All right, go ahead and make your cuts, and let's get back together and start putting this project together. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to quilt our main fabric, which is, this back main body piece, okay? That's the first thing we want to do. So if you have some 505 temporary spray, it's a great adhesive to use when you're quilting. And what it does is it'll hold that material in place. Here, let me separate. It'll hold that material in place so that you don't have to use pins. But if you don't have any, it's not a big deal. You can use pins and go ahead and stitch, okay? But I'm gonna use this. Okay, once you have gotten your main fabric temporarily adhered to your batting, then you're going to take your ruler, and you're going to do this for both your pieces, but we're just going to start with one. You're going to take your ruler, and I'm doing a diamond shape type of quilting stitch. Y'all, you can do whatever floats your boat, okay? It's raining so much right now here in Georgia. It's almost time for a boat. But you can do straight stitch up and down if you want to, or no quilting at all, okay? This is really kind of up to you as to what you want to do, all right? Take your pen, the disappearing ink pen, and draw you a line from one corner to the opposite corner, okay? All right, and then from here, you can either draw, your remaining lines, and I'm just using a 1.5 inch space between each line for this small size. For our larger size, our medium, we end up using a 2 inch gap per stitch, okay? So you can draw your lines if you want to. If you've got a quilting guide, you can use that to do your stitches. But go ahead and do your quilting, okay, for both your pieces. And then I'll see you back here. Okay, we have got our quilting done. Look at that. Oh, Miss Ann, I love those diamond shapes. All right, that was really good. Okay, so let's put those guys to the side. And I want you to grab your casing pieces, okay? I want to grab your casing pieces. Can't talk today. And the short ends, we are going to turn those back 1/4 inch and press. Do it on both, and we're going to stitch it, okay? All right, we have our edges, our short sides folded back 1/4 of an inch. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stitch right down the center there, okay? And this is gonna hold back the edge on our casing. And you really don't have to reverse here. We're just holding that guy back. All right, do that for the remaining of your short sides, okay? Okay, we've got our short side stitch. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take them and you're gonna fold hot dog style, okay? You're folding where the wrong side is touching each other, okay? So just fold it in half and then you're gonna press it. And those that have been rocking with me, I want y'all to see how loved this sweater is, y'all. It is my favorite sweater to sew in. So I'm sorry if it looks so raggedy. It is. It's raggedy. But you know what? It's comfortable. It's my comfort sweater. My sewing comfort sweater. All right. Do the same thing with this one. All right, now we're going to start putting these pieces together. Now what I want you to do is grab your main body pieces that you quilted, okay? And we're going to do one side at a time for each. And what we're doing is we're going to join our casing piece to it, okay? And we're going to sandwich it with the lining. So to do that, I want you to take it and have your widest side up top, okay, going across, if that makes sense. Have your widest side, you know, going across here. And I want you to just fold it in half. Take you a pin and let's put a pin in the center there. If you like it, then you should have put a pin in it. And I put a little birdie pin. All right, so it should look like that when you open it back up, okay? Do the same for the other one. Find your center. Find your center. And put a pin there. All right. And now we're going to find the center of our casings, okay? So fold it. Y'all, this is a really, really fun project. And find your center. Do the same for your other one. All right, so I've got the centers of them, okay? And so now what I'm gonna do, oh, I need to find one more center. And that's the center of my lining. Grab your other one. Make sure you're working on that long side, okay? Not your short one. All right, we've got the center just on one side of our lining pieces, our main, as well as our casing pieces, okay? All right, so one at a time. Let me slide these over a little bit. Take your main piece here and take your casing piece. You want the folded side down where we can match up the raw edge, okay? And what I mean by that is match your center there. See how I'm lining up that raw edge with the raw edge of that piece? Do you see that? Okay. Match up those centers there. And then we're just gonna temporarily hold it in place. All right. Leave that there. Now, we'll take our lining piece, take that center. This was my center piece. Match it up. Now, when I match it up, I'm putting right sides together. Do you see that? I'm putting right sides together, okay? And I'm sandwiching this casing in between. So just line those birdies up. The birdies. And let's put a pin to hold it. And then we can take out that other one. All right. And now what you're going to do is you're going to pin the remaining together. And when you pin the remaining together, you should have everything lined up. So you have your main body. You've got your casing piece. Okay. Those are 2 layers there. And then you've got your lining. Make sure it's nice and flat, and then you can pin it. Okay, do that all the way down from one end to the other. All right, now we are going to stitch across here, and we're going to stitch a 3/8 seam allowance, okay? I'll see you over at the machine. Okay, for those who are new, seam allowance is a distance from the edge of your fabric to the stitch line, that space. And it varies from project to project, okay? So for right here in this section of our project, we are doing 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And so you can measure from the edge of your presser foot or whatever works for you visually. Okay, now what I want you to do is we're going to press our seam here, and we're going to press it so that it's going towards our main piece, okay? That's the direction we want it to go, okay? So if you place it on the right side and you take that casing and kind of have it come up. Let me move my fabric before I burn my fabric. Just feel for that seam. Make sure that it's facing, you know, your main piece here. Can y'all see that? And what I mean by that is, see how it's facing down, okay? It's facing towards this main piece. And now we're gonna press. And what that's gonna do is kind of help make that casing sit up. And we're gonna stitch it in place a little later, towards the end. Do the same with the other. All right, good job. Y'all are coming along. This is really good. Okay, we're gonna sit these two pieces to the side and we're gonna start working on our pocket now. All right, now we're gonna work on our front pocket, okay? That's this guy that goes all the way across the front of this bag. And so you can create this as really however you want. It's really designed to have a divider in the center. But if you want, you know, you need like a pin pocket or something for whatever you're gonna use it for, you design it however you choose, but I'm just going to kind of give you some basics here and you can be creative from that, okay? So grab your pieces here and you want to grab your piping because that's the first thing that we're going to do. So this is Wright's bias tape piping, and like I said, it is the 1/2 inch wide. See, 1/2 inch wide size, okay? All right, as you can see, it's been used. So you don't need much. You just need a little bit for this front. All right, so grab your main piece. All right, and you want to place the piping so that the cut edge is lined up along the top, okay? Now, please pay attention to your material because if your material is directional, you want to make sure that you're facing properly, okay? So that you don't have anything upside down, okay? So just make it a little bit longer than your piece, okay? See that? Make it a little bit longer. And I'm just going to cut just about a 1/2 inch longer. All right, so go ahead and lay that down, place your piping there, let it sit, like I said, just a little bit off of the corners there, and then take your lining piece, just like we did with our main body and lining, and put it right side down, okay? It's almost like a repeat. Put this right side down, lining it up with the top. Now, I'm going to use binding clips for this part because it's just a little bit easier to hold this piping. If you don't have any binding clips, by all means, use pins, okay? All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to clip it all the way down, making sure everything stays lined up. Have y'all noticed like ducks have been a big thing here lately? I would love to hear if you all are into ducks. Like my kids' classes, they love making the little plush ducks. I've seen duck material. I've seen duck embroideries. So I need somebody to educate me on what the deal is with the ducks. All right, keep on going till you get all the way down. Looks like I'm a little short for some reason. I need to fix that. All right, so once you have it clipped, we are going to go over to the machine and I'm going to show you, let me fix my little gap here. I'm going to show you, here we go, how to sew this piping on using a piping foot. And if you don't have a piping foot, then you want to get your zipper foot out, and that's going to allow you to get nice and close to the piping. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. All right, let's talk piping for just a second. If you don't have a piping foot, that's okay. You know, it is, like I said, it's not a big deal, y'all. You can still do this using your zipper foot, okay? And if you don't want to use piping because you don't like it, it's okay. It's still okay. This is customized, okay? Now, if you're using your zipper foot, it will be easier for you to do this in 2 steps, okay? So take your piping, and you see this little stitch line here. What you want to do is you'll go ahead and make sure your needle is touching along that line all the way down when you're stitching, okay? And then what you do is you'll take your lining piece and place it on top, and then you'll flip it over so that you can see the stitch line and stitch just a little further in from that stitch line so that stitch line doesn't show, if that makes sense, okay? And stitch all the way down. That way you have a guide. If you're using this piping presser foot, then what you're gonna do is take this, you're gonna lift it up over the piping and then let it sit down, okay? And then you want to move your needle so that you are just above that stitch line that's already there, okay? So if you need to adjust it before you put your fabric in, then go ahead and do that. And then you're just going to stitch straight down. It's wonderful. And what happens is that piping just sits right in that groove. Look at y'all did it. Good job. Look at that. We got piping. We got piping. Yes, we do. We got piping. How about you? Y'all, you won't believe it. I was a cheerleader back in the day. I'd love to hear what kind of fun sports y'all play. Or maybe you play now. I don't know. All right, we're going to move on and put this pocket on our bag. All right, y'all, we are moving along. I want you to go ahead and trim off this extra piping here now that we're done sewing. Go ahead and trim that off. Just like so. I can't even remember if I've said it yet. All right, I've gone ahead and pressed across here so that it's nice and smooth. I want you to go ahead and draw a line down the center, okay? Draw a line down the center because that's going to end up being our stitch line. Now, if you have a business and you want to put, your label, your tag on here, once you draw that line down the center, I would suggest placing that tag about 1 inch away from that center line, okay? About 1 inch away from that center line and about 1/4 inch down from the top, okay? So 1 inch away from the center, about 1/4 inch from the top, or a little less than that, okay? Maybe more like 1/8 inch because we're going to stitch 1/4 inch across, okay? So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here in just a moment. All right, y'all, now that we have the upper part of our pocket pressed and We've got our center marking there, our label, our tag is there if you want one. You want to do a top stitch across the top here at 1/4 of an inch from not the piping, but from where the fabric and the piping meet, okay? So 1/4 of an inch from there. So go ahead and stitch across. Once you've gotten your tag on, if you need it, and y'all, they got some fun tags that are like made from Nana or Grandma, whatever. It's just be fun, you know, for some embellishment. It should look like this, okay? So you've got your center line, you know, and what you're gonna do is take this pocket with the back, you know, everything's together. You're gonna take this, grab just one of your main pieces, okay? Just one of your main pieces. And you're gonna take it and line it up with the bottom, okay? Line up the bottom. Once you've gotten the bottom, you know, all lined up, then what you're gonna do is stitch straight down that middle, okay? Of course, if you drew some other lines, you know, stitch according to what you have designed, okay? Go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here for your next step, okay? The next thing we want to do is we're going to end up drawing a line across the bottom. That way your stuff doesn't end up going in the pocket and actually hiding underneath the bag by sliding underneath, because this pocket wraps all the way underneath the bag. So we want to make sure we put a support stitch there so it doesn't do that. So it stops when it's supposed to, okay? So I'm gonna show you how far up to place that stitch line. All right, now what you wanna do is mark, for the small size, you're gonna mark 2.5 inches up from the bottom. Now, if you're creating the larger size, you're gonna mark up 3 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, okay? Make sure that your lining is still out of the way, okay? Make sure your lining is still out of the way. So just measure 2.5 inches up and draw your line all the way across. Okay, I've drawn my line across 2.5 inches up from the bottom, okay? And I'm just gonna stitch that line, just kind of like how we did our middle. Again, keeping our lining out of the way, okay? Okay, so you should see kind of like a plus sign on your bag, okay? All right, our pocket is in place. All right, y'all, let's start putting this baby together in the final, few steps. Go ahead and have, one side facing up, and then take your back piece, make sure you're matching back to back and lining to lining, okay? Or main to main, I guess you could say, and then lining to lining, okay? So put right sides together, just like so. Just like so. All right. And what we want to do is we want to line up where our seams are matching here, okay? We want to line that up. So move that baby over and line it up. See if I can see here. And what I like to do is I like to use a pin here in this area so that it stays put, okay? Do the same with the other side. Again, making sure that seam is facing. Can y'all see that? Is it focusing? That it's facing the main part. All right, now you're gonna just lay it back down first, but keep everything lined up, okay? Make sure you got everything lined up perfectly. All right, now what you wanna do is you wanna take our box corner square, and this is going to help us create our box corner in the corners of our bag, okay? So on each corner, place it, lining it up on each corner exactly. And you're gonna draw a line. Or draw, I guess, more of a box. No, it's 2 lines. 2 lines, Ann. Y'all, I'm sorry. I feel like I got a brain fart today. My goodness. All right, so it should look like that. Do that for each of your 4 corners, okay? And then I want you to cut them out. Now, one thing that you can do is you can put some pins, to kind of hold your fabric together so that, it doesn't shift on you while you're cutting, okay? All right, so your piece should look like this when you're done cutting out your box squares. What you want to do now is you want to pin this side here. We're also going to pin over here on this side. Now this is our quilted side, our outside main piece, and you're going to pin across the bottom, okay? Over here, what you want to do with this lining is you want to leave an opening about the size of your hand, maybe a hair bigger, okay? So leave yourself a gap in this lining piece, okay? So you'll just stitch this little corner here and this little area here, okay? But do not, I repeat, do not stitch your cutout areas, okay? Don't stitch our little box corners at all, okay? I'll see you over at the machine. Okay, we are gonna start at the bottom, y'all. Y'all are doing good. I'm proud of you. Keep going, okay? We're almost there. So remember how I was saying leave an opening? And what I try to teach you all is put a double pin on both sides of where you want to leave an opening, okay? That way when you come across it, you know, don't stitch here, okay? Because we can be talking, our kids can run in, husband, whatever, we get distracted. And when we see those double pins, we'll know, hey, I don't need to go past this point, okay? So we're gonna start there. And what you're gonna do is just line up the edge of your presser foot. Make sure I'm in the middle here, yeah. Line up the edge of your fabric with the edge of your presser foot, okay? And so this is gonna be a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And we're just gonna stitch to the end here. Don't forget to back stitch. All right, so now I'm gonna avoid this cutout, all right? I'm gonna turn my material so that it's lined up on the next long line, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and stitch. And I'm gonna do that all the way around. Now, remember when you get to these, the thicker part where the seam is, where the main fabric meets the lining, you want to be sure that you don't push your material. Don't push your material. You want to pull from behind if it ends up getting stuck a little bit, okay? So just to kind of help it along, just give it a little extra help, and be careful as you're going across that seam because it is thick right there. All right, and then you keep on going. And then back stitch again. All right, go ahead and finish up this section, and I'll see you back in just a moment. All right, now we are gonna create our box pleats, okay? So where our corners are, all right, I'm over here on the quilted side, just reach your finger in between there, okay? And you're just gonna open that up, and we're gonna match up this seam, this bottom seam here with our side seam here. We're gonna match those two seams up. So just separate that. Okay, see how I did that? It's like this right now. I'm just reaching in and I'm just separating. Look how that naturally begins to match up, okay? All right, so open it up. I know it's like, let's figure out which one goes with which. Okay, so open that, oh, I didn't realize I'm out of frame. Open that seam up, do the same with the other. And as you can see here, get that thread out the way. You want those two seams to match up nicely, okay? So go ahead and do that. And then you can put a binder clip there, or a pin, whatever you have. All right, do that again for each box pleat. okay? All right, now that you've got all 4 corners clipped, just place it one corner at a time under your presser foot here. Make sure that you're nice and flat, okay? You're nice and flat. You're nice and lined up on the edge here. And what you're gonna do, 3/8 of an inch again, and we're gonna stitch across. I like to reverse on these corners because they're so thick. That's just my little extra 2 cents. And then make sure you go all the way across the fold so you don't have any holes, okay? All right, do that for each of your corners, and then y'all, we are gonna flip it out and see what we have. All right, y'all, let's turn it out and see what we got. Here we go. That opening that we left, go ahead and slowly turn everything out of there. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I am so excited. Look at that. Look at those corners, or seams rather, line up. All right, push out all your corners. Use your stick here and make sure every corner gets pushed out good. All right, very good. All right, don't worry about these corners right here because they're actually going to go back inside, so there's no need to poke them out. So right here where our opening is, we're going to turn it in so it looks as if it had been stitched. So turn it in just that 3/8 of an inch because that's what we stitched. And you can press it, and we're going to stitch just about 1/8 of an inch across to close up that hole, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. All right, y'all, we've gotten that stitch, little tiny stitch. Now you can push it right on down in there. All right, now that we've gotten the lining down in there, we need to press this all the way around, okay? We need to press this all the way around up top here, making sure this is nice and smooth, okay? And we're gonna do a top stitch, just 1/4 of an inch, all the way around the top, okay? And that's gonna finish off our main bag portion, okay? And then all we have to do is put in our cords. All right, let's go ahead and do that. All right, if your machine allows you to take the arm off, it's an attachment here which allows you to get into narrow spaces if you're going into like a circular position or direction rather. Go ahead and do that. I know that sounds crazy. Take your arm off. Oh, geez. All right. So then you can slide your bag up underneath, and I like to start towards the back, okay? And you're going to increase your stitch length to 4.0, and you are going to do a 1/4 inch stitch all the way around this upper part, okay? So a 1/4 inch all the way around. All right, I'll see you in just a moment. All right, y'all, the last melon. Look at that. Y'all did that. Look at what y'all did. Pat yourself on the back. Oh, it's so good. Okay, let's grab our rope. This is it, y'all. This is it. And I forgot to mention earlier, you do need like a safety pin. I like the jumbo size to kind of work through this thicker rope. And I do have tape on the end. I always put that there when I go to cut my rope so it doesn't just fan out and get all crazy. So open that pin up. If you've never taken a string and put it through a casing before, or tunnel if you will, like with a hoodie or something like that, this is how you do it, okay? So go ahead and place that. I'm just about a 1/2 inch from the tip, okay? And then close it up. All right. So then you're going to start on one side, one opening here, and you're going to pull that through, okay? You're going to pull that through all the way around. And keep going. And when you get to the other side, come on out. And then you'll start through the other side. Keep going. All right. And when you come out, that is one side, okay? That's going to be one side. So go ahead and take your safety pin off. And then you're just going to even it up a little bit and tie a knot with both together. Okay? Leaving yourself about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch on the ends, okay? And pull it nice and tight. Oh, use that strength. Pull it nice and tight. All right? All right, now we're going to do the other side, but when we do the other side, we're going to start at the opposite end, okay? Not the end that's got the knot on it. We're going to start at this end and do the same thing, okay? Oh my goodness, y'all, look what we made. How cute is that? How cute is that? Oh my goodness, it's got drawstrings. It'll open up nice and wide. Look at that. You can just pack it with stuff. My girls, they use makeup brushes. Their makeup goes in here. I've got people that I've given them to that use toys. Like I said, it is so versatile. There's so many things that you can use this bag for, and I'm so glad that y'all hung out with me today to create this. And I'm so excited for what y'all accomplish. Great job. And I just hope that you will continue to like and subscribe our channel. We're having fun creating things for y'all. And if you want this pattern so that you can make some, holidays are coming up. They make great gifts. Something simple, doesn't take a lot of fabric. And obviously it's not something that takes forever to stitch up. So it's really fun, it's really different, but go to our website, grab the pattern at sophoriastudio.com, and I look forward to creating some more with you all soon. All right, take care.